Harare, Zimbabwe. Tens of thousands of Zimbabweans gathered in the capital on Saturday, hooting and whistling as they called for President Robert Mugabe to give up power, days after a military takeover placed him under house arrest. The rally, held at Zimbabwe grounds, known as the site of addresses by Mr. Mugabe and other icons of the nation's liberation, was a seminal shift for the country's 93-year-old leader, Africa's oldest. Brezhnev Malaba, assistant editor of the Zimbabwe Independent newspaper, tweeted in the early hours of the march, "There are decades in which nothing happens, and then, suddenly, there are days in which whole decades happen." Zimbabwe is at that moment. Astonishing scenes here in Harare. The military placed Mr. Mugabe under house arrest on Wednesday, effectively ending his 37-year rule, but it allowed him to appear in public on Friday for a university graduation ceremony. The military sought to cast the action as an attempt to rid the president of the criminals in his government who have inflicted economic damage on the country. The president's wife, Grace Mugabe, has not been seen in public since Wednesday. Her recent aspirations to succeed her husband appear to have been a trigger for his downfall. On Friday evening, a majority of the leaders of Mr. Mugabe's governing ZANU-PF party, which he had controlled with an iron grip since independence in 1980, recommended his expulsion, according to ZBC, the state broadcaster. The following morning, tens of thousands of Zimbabweans, some chanting, "Enough is enough," and carrying signs emblazoned with "Mugabe must go," marched side by side with the military and hailed the army as setting them free from Mr. Mugabe's long autocratic rule. Marchers swarmed to the grounds, with soldiers mounted on tankers with machine guns slowly moving alongside. Drivers honked their horns, and at one point, military aircraft streaked by above the crowds. Soldiers are being feted as heroes on the streets of Harare, Mr. Malaba, the editor, said on Twitter. Euphoric scenes. People are standing next to army tanks and taking selfies. I've seen chaps excitedly polishing soldiers' boots in a gesture of gratitude. This is unprecedented. Historic, for many Zimbabweans, the atmosphere was electric, even celebratory. Benita Mudando, 57, came to the rally from the Nyanga district, more than 180 miles to the east near the border with Mozambique. "Surely Zimbabwe, our country, is back, the one country we fought for," she said. "We had given up, but had become worried about the future of our children and grandchildren." Her husband, Ernst Mudando, 67, a war veteran, said, "Our joy only starts today, and we are so happy." Their daughter, Michelle Mudando, 17, said, "We are here as youth to claim back our country, our pride. We want to see our country on a path back to recovery. I look forward to a stable government with a stable economy without shortages of cash." For Zimbabwe's university graduates, the march was a platform to express optimism as they looked forward to life without Mr. Mugabe in power.